Project Lois isn't just a background detail in Wednesday Season 2. It's the kind of secret that rewrites the history of Nevermore and sets up a threat way bigger than anything Laurel Gates could have imagined. On the surface, it sounds simple, an experiment to give normies the powers of outcasts. But when you dig into who started it, how far it's gone, and what's still out there, you realize it's less project and more blueprint for weaponizing anyone. Today, we're breaking down exactly what Project Lois is, where it came from, who's still running it, and why it might be the real endgame villain of this series. And yes, spoilers ahead for Wednesday Season 2. Nevermore Academy has always been a nice place for outcasts, a place where gifted students can learn to control and understand their abilities. But like any institution dealing with extraordinary power, it occasionally attracts the wrong kind of attention. Decades before Wednesday set foot on campus, one of those people was Dr. Augustus Stonehurst. He arrived at Nevermore as a normie science teacher, brilliant, respected, and genuinely fascinated by outcast abilities. But somewhere along the way, that fascination turned into something darker. His interest shifted from helping students understand their gifts to finding ways to claim those gifts for himself. What started as academic curiosity slowly became an obsession, pushing experiments that crossed lines no teacher should ever cross. During his time at Nevermore, there was a brilliant student with a fragile heart who designed his own mechanical heart to survive. The boy became cold and driven after the procedure, eventually dying in one of his own experiments. That student would later become known as Slurp, but back then he was just another casualty of dangerous ambition at Nevermore. These early experiences planted the seed for something much bigger, something Stonehurst could refine, scale, and control. That something would eventually become known as Project Lois. Project Lois didn't start as some grand government program. It began quietly, almost invisibly, in the labs and storage rooms of Nevermore Academy. Stonehurst's core idea was deceptively simple. Take the unique abilities of outcasts, strip them down to their essence, and recreate them in normies through a controlled process. Why? Power, obviously, but not just for himself. A process like this could be replicated, packaged, even sold. Imagine turning anyone into a shapeshifter, a psychic, or a creature like the Hyde, no lineage required. The early trials were a mess. Students went missing. Outcasts who volunteered never came back the same, if they came back at all. And for every failure, Stonehurst pushed harder. His reputation as a teacher faded into something else entirely. A man willing to gamble lives for a formula. It wasn't until he found a way to successfully transfer an ability into a human subject that the project truly began. And his first subject was his own daughter. Judi Stonehurst was born without powers. In Nevermore's world, that meant she'd always be on the outside looking in, even as the daughter of a man obsessed with supernatural abilities. For Augustus Stonehurst, that wasn't a disappointment. It was an opportunity. She became his first real breakthrough. The experiment worked. Judi changed into an aviary, able to command crows with unsettling precision. It was a success that proved his theory could hold up outside a notebook. Then he made the mistake of trying it on himself. Augustus attempted to become a Da Vinci, an outcast with telekinetic powers. The process that remade Judi nearly destroyed him. His mind collapsed, his body followed, and in that vacuum, Judi stepped forward. Willow Hill stopped being a psychiatric facility and became something else, a hidden factory for experiments no one was meant to see. Outcasts were taken in and never came out. Abilities were extracted, rewritten, and forced into others. Sometimes the subjects survived, sometimes they didn't. But unlike her father, Judi wasn't chasing knowledge or even legacy. She didn't care about leveling the playing field between normies and outcasts. She wanted control over both. And if someone got too close to the truth, like Sheriff Galpin, she made sure they never got close again. Slurp was never part of Project Lois, but his story is tied to Augustus Stonehurst in ways that make him dangerous to Judi's plans. Decades ago, when Augustus was still a teacher at Nevermore, there was a brilliant student with a fragile heart. Facing death, the boy designed and implanted a mechanical heart that saved his life. His experiments grew darker and more reckless until one finally killed him. He was buried under the skull tree, Years later, Pugsley Adams, now carrying new electrical abilities, stumbled onto that same spot. One accidental surge into the ground and what was buried woke up. Slurp came back different, a patchwork of what he used to be and what time had done to him, not controlled, not created by Judi, but alive, and with every brain he consumed, he regained pieces of himself, memory, intelligence, even parts of his body. When Slurp finally encountered Augustus again at Willow Hill, his first words were chilling. Then he ate Augustus's brain. That greeting suggests their connection runs deeper than just teacher and student, and that Augustus may have played a role in the boy's original death. For Judi, Slurp represents an uncontrollable variable in a world where she demands absolute control. He's proof that resurrection and power don't always require her blueprints. Project Lois was never just about giving powers to normies. It was about control, and that control didn't die with Augustus Stonehurst. Judi is still out there, and every experiment, every subject, every scrap of research she's kept means the project could start again tomorrow. Slurp's existence complicates everything. He's not part of Lois, but he's living proof that the boundaries between life and death, human and outcast, can be crossed in ways Judi never planned for. That makes him either a threat to her control or the missing piece she's been looking for. If Project Lois continues, the consequences go far beyond Nevermore. We're talking about a world where abilities can be bought, sold, and manufactured at scale. Armies of enhanced soldiers, entire populations rewritten to fit whoever's holding the syringe. Right now, Judi, Slurp, and the knowledge behind Project Lois are all loose, which means the only question left is whether next episodes or even in season 3 is about stopping the project or surviving what it's already unleashed. So, what do you think? Is Project Lois the real endgame villain of Wednesday or just the first step towards something worse? Drop your theories in the comments below, and if you're just catching up on all this Slurp madness, I did a full breakdown on his origin story that connects some dots you might have missed. I'll link that right here. Thanks for watching. I'm Raphael CG, and see you in the next video.